A story that's gaining national attention today. A woman says she was in active labor when a hospital turned her away. This happened in Indiana, just outside of Chicago. Mercedes Wells says she spent 6 hours in the hospital and she was never seen by a doctor, only a nurse. Mercedes says even though her contractions were just 1 minute apart, that nurse did not take her seriously and eventually discharged her. 8 minutes into the drive to another hospital, Mercedes had her baby in her car.
I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I don't have any medical license or anything to deliver a baby. I was just scared. I didn't know what to do.
I was stripped of my dignity. I was stripped of my dignity as a person because I was treated less than an animal. Everyone stood around to witness this, all the staff, and no one said a word.
The fact that this is a real story should horrify every single person. The good news, though, Mercedes and her baby are healthy, but this is another example of the mistreatment Black women often face in labor and in other medical settings.
Joining us to talk more about this is Dr. Rosemarie Allen, our race and equity expert. Dr. Allen, for the viewers, there's a long history of this.
Absolutely. This really started during enslavement in the 1800s. Many people have heard about Dr. Marion Sims. He's called the father of gynecology. What many people do not know is that he exploited and experimented on enslaved Black women's bodies. He conducted surgeries such as cesarean sections and hysterectomies without anesthesia. Some women suffered through at least 30 surgeries on their body. And what's so sad about this, it promoted the myth that Black women do not feel pain. And that myth is prominent today. It's still in medical journals. It is still in textbooks for nurses, EMTs, and doctors. And it prevails, and it really dictates and drives how Black women are treated.
I want to ask you, because Black maternal health is a topic, at least we are discussing. We talk about it now once a year, but it still feels like people don't understand just how dangerous this is, that Black women lose their lives, almost every day to this type of, being ignored, not being taken seriously. Despite all the advancements in technology, this shouldn't be happening in anywhere, but certainly not America, where, our healthcare system is prominent and successful. Why do you think this continues to happen?
It should not be happening. 80% of maternal deaths are preventable. 80% of the women who die do not have to die. But what we know is that Black women are up to 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women are. And we know that this happens regardless of income, regardless of education, regardless of the type of medical insurance they have. So what we know is that this is not an individual problem. It is a systemic problem. And this problem must be addressed in order to ensure that Black women live. These stories, they're caught on film now, but they're not unique. They're happening every day. Just recently, there was another incident where a woman was in active labor and not taken seriously and gave birth 12 minutes later. So Black women, even when they advocate for themselves, they're labeled as defiant and uncooperative. So you can't advocate for yourself. No one is listening to you. Your pain is being diminished, and they don't trust that you know your body.
And in the video that we showed earlier, thank gosh that baby's okay. Can you only imagine if there was an incident in that car, what could have happened to mom or child? Because this is systemic, what would you recommend that hospitals and doctors do to end this?
Well, first we have to have accountability. Hospitals should be held accountable. They should track maternal death rates by race. And then the data should be made public. Then we have to really look at access to midwives and doulas. Research shows that when a Black woman has a doula or a midwife, especially one that is racially and culturally matched, their outcomes are far, far better. We also have to recognize that implicit bias training is not enough. It is not enough. We need anti-racist protocols. We need to standardize responses. So if a woman shows up and her contractions are 1 minute apart and she's saying she's in a lot of pain, she can feel the baby's head, standardize responses so that everyone, regardless of age or race or ethnicity, that they get the same response. And then we have to really understand that women know their bodies. Listen to Black women. When they say they are in pain, they are in pain. When they say that birth is imminent, birth is imminent. They know their bodies. Respond accordingly. No woman should have to die in childbirth. And Black women deserve the right to life as any other woman.
So well said. Before you go, I do want to just touch upon, because the word advocate was always thrown around. You have to advocate for yourself inside of the doctor's room, but then you see stories like this. What does that look like in real time? How can a woman who, Black woman specifically, who feels like she's not being listened to by her own doctor perhaps, advocate for themselves?
And I think the first thing you have to say is, I need you to stop. And I need you, doctor, to take a deep breath. Because right now you're assuming you know me. And I'm telling you what's happening to my body. Can we take a moment? Can we take a moment and take a deep breath? Let's kind of settle ourselves down. And really, are you ready? Are you ready to hear me now? Because I've heard you. Now let me tell you what's happening to me and what's different for me. And I tell people all the time, being a cancer survivor, that it's not what's wrong with me, but what's different with me. This feels different. This doesn't feel right. What would you tell your daughter? What would you tell your sister? I need you to tell me that. And just having that conversation.
It's powerful.
I know. Dr. Rosemarie Allen, thank you for talking to us about this today. Appreciate
Thank you so much for the story. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it makes a difference.
Me too, truly. We'll be right back.